Beard Struggle Podcast with Faisal Kathiwala.
Hey guys, welcome to the Behind the Two Beards. I'm Faisal, a Chief Bearded Officer, and I have with me Don Idrees, the man, the myth, the legend, the CoreSports, Mr. CoreSports TV himself. How you doing, Don?
You forgot to introduce me as the struggling beard.
Oh yes, the struggling beard.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
At least every time I see you, you try to grow a beard.
I'm trying. It's getting better. It's points for trying. For trying. I'm doing good, man. How are you? How's the trip back?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm missing Dubai. I really hope I spoke to Wasim, my social media coordinator, and he was like, bro, we got to figure out a way to move to Dubai. We got to expand our business. We got to do something. And he's like, don't worry, I'll take care of it on that end. I was like, all right, well, we're thinking. The wheels are turning in our minds.
I think this time you had a much better time than you did last time. The weather was better. The atmosphere was better. The fight was better, I suppose.
Definitely, the fight was better.
No, good.
I see that Band-Aid on your arm there, Don. What happened there?
Well, I mean, am I giving you like a review log of what you witnessed already?
No, I've seen the videos, and I showed my wife the videos. So Don sent me live videos of his surgery being done. Of attaching his bicep, but I think I want to get into how did that happen? Did it what transpired? Because I know it's connected. The reason why I'm bringing it up, it's connected to the Eddie Hall versus Hafthor fight. And
yep.
If you want to go into it,
yeah, sure. I mean, look, it was part of the hype plan was to create a scenario where they would accidentally run into each other. And it was meant to be scripted, and they were supposed to run like you arriving at a location, like one arriving at a location and the other one leaving a location. They'll start, say some shit to each other, and that's the end of it, right? Mm-hmm. One forgets how much hatred and emotion is actually there, right? And I love reading the comments about how, this is fake, this is drumming up for the fight. I'm like, trust me, buddy, it's really, really, really not fake. And I think that the face-to-face kind of got a little bit out of hand. It got a little bit too ugly, to say the least. I find myself the little dude, Dana Brown over here, right, in the middle. And at some point, I'm like, well, this is not going to work. Pushing them away is not going to work. So I kind of got behind Eddie and grabbed him like around the waist, and I was pulling him back. And I kind of jerked a little bit, and my bicep tore, came off the bone completely, rolled up into my shoulder. I'm like, for fuck's sake. Yeah. And this is 5 days away from the fight. I'm like, all the things that could happen. Same exact injury that Eddie had.
I have the actual video of right after it happened. We'll maybe put it up on the screen here. But you can see the extent of the damage. I
don't really remember much. The adrenaline was there was 20 people full of adrenaline at that point.
Just to touch on Don's point about it being scripted. Okay, this is how Don scripted it. Eddie show up at Hafthor's gym. That was all that was scripted. A lot of people say it was scripted, but people don't really understand that. When you script something, you're supposed to be like, hey, you do this, you throw this at him, and we'll dodge it, and you run out the door. No, it was none of that. No, it was literally a phone call to Eddie Hall. Hey, Eddie, show up at Hafthor's gym and rile him up a little bit. And he did do that, except, when it's not scripted, things like your bicep tearing happens, right? Your bicep being torn.
I remember the joke that I think Wasim was the one who kept giving me shit for the next couple of days, your social media manager. What was he saying? He kept saying, no, because I think the magic word was, I said, we'll see what happens organically, right? And you guys did not let it go. You're like, hey, should we do something, let it happen organically, or do you want to do some planning this time? I'm like, okay, guys, okay.
This I whole messed fight up. Seemed like it was organic.
We'll put them in the ring and we'll see what happens. So, yeah. Well, lesson learned. But luckily, I mean, for some reason, Eddie felt really bad. So immediately, like the next day, he's like, "How you feeling?" Because he's been through the exact same injury, right? Different circumstances. He very kindly offered up his surgeon. I went to London on Sunday, got the surgery done on Monday, back on Tuesday, took off the sling on Wednesday, and here I am. I have a follow-up one next week. No, they reattached it very nicely. I insisted on staying awake and
that's good. I hope you have a speedy recovery, and then you can go back to making things organically.
Yeah.
And you just said, I mean, let's see if we threw these two guys in the ring and let's see what happens. So I mean, that brings me to the question, like, how did you have this idea or like this thought of throwing these two big men, world's strongest men, into the ring and having the fight? Like, how did that whole moment, how did it spur? Like, when did you did you approach Hafthor? Did you approach Eddie? Or like, how did this whole thing transpire?
So it's partially my weird brain. I just like putting on extravagant. The weirder, the better. Right? I like putting on a show, whether it's 5 people sitting at having a conversation, or whether it's something to show people. I like things that are rare and eye catchers. So I've generally always had a flair for that. And of course, me having a close relationship with Eddie, me having a close relationship with Hafthor, I knew for years and years and years the hatred they have for each other. And, they're two such rich, larger than life characters. That barroom conversation where people get drunk and, hey, who do you think would win in a fight? Batman or Superman? A tiger or a bear? They fit that niche. They fit that conversation. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was waiting to happen. And I don't remember exactly. All I remember was January-ish, maybe January, February 2020. I was just scrolling online. I got into some weird YouTube rabbit hole, and some comments were there. They were egging onto each other, like, you did this, you did that. And suddenly somebody said, you guys should settle your differences in the ring. It was a comment. I'm like, hold on. If anybody's doing that fight, I want to do it.
Yeah.
Foolishly so. And I immediately messaged Eddie. I'm like, Eddie, I got to talk to you about something. And at the same time, like, there was a period of 1 week where the top 2 chats on my WhatsApp were Eddie Hall and Hafthor Björnsson, right? Both of them. Like, hey, I need to talk to you. Hey, I need to talk to you.
Did you throw them in a group chat or something like that? Or
No. No. I wanted to know how they both kind of felt about the idea. And it was kind of fresh off the bat of just this. It was the beginning, kind of the beginning. It was still a novelty, this whole boxer getting in the ring. And I'm like, this is something here. And they were both really willing to do it.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, well, let's do it. Okay, we're going to do it. Then a week passed by. They're like, right, we're going to do it. How are we going to do this, right? So then we started discussing terms, and I kind of sniffed around. I reached out to a couple of people I knew in the combat world, looked at some numbers from the what was the first one? There was a KSI Logan Paul. I think they did straight up on YouTube. It did well. So just did some research, and then got into the whole, okay, we have agreed to this, we're going to do it right. And we got into a long contractual negotiation, putting together the terms and how we're going to do it. It'll be done properly. And then that's it. Like, the contracts were signed quietly. And it was around the same time that COVID hit. Mm-hmm. And Hafthor was doing his deadlift.
Yeah.
Right. Now, a lot of people think that the deadlift hype was drummed up to announce the fight. It's actually not the case at all. It was not the case. That was a whole other monster on its own.
Hafthor's deadlift, that was kind of covered by you guys, right? You guys were there who videoed it and everything, and you were there for the stream, right?
World's Ultimate Strongman, we sanctioned it. Yeah. So we were supposed to do a World's Ultimate Strongman in Bahrain on February 15th, I think the date was. And max deadlift for $100,000, we publicly announced this. It was going to be at that World's Ultimate Strongman. Then that show got canceled, along with everything else on planet Earth. And Hafthor just called me. He's like, look, I'm peaked. I'm ready to go. Is there not a way we can do this? I said, look, we can do this only if you got to have a proper referee. We got to make it like twice as legit as it would be in a competition. And I said, like, there's other competitors there. Look, let's face it. There's not a lot of guys out there who are actually able to pull over 500, right? There weren't many contenders who would have succeeded, right? So it was something that he was supposed to do. It just got pushed ahead by like a month or so under different circumstances because there was no hope of events or live events or physical travel. Everything was shut down. You remember that time. Yeah. It was just a weird time for all of us. We figured out a way to live stream it, right? Yeah. And we ended up getting it on ESPN. It was probably one of the most watched strength feats in the world because there was no other live sport happening at the time. Just
to sort of touch on that point, I mean, I was at that press conference where, you know, Eddie Hall had said a few words and he said, well, your dad weighed the weights and, you know, it wasn't really sanctioned. And I mean, what are your thoughts? Because you're essentially the guy that sanctioned it and you're the guy who was kind of responsible for it being all legit. So from your point of view, kind of defending Hafthor's case on that, you know, him having the official world title or, you know, Eddie Hall also doing that, but doing it in a different situation, different, more, you know, the way he described it. I mean, what's your response to that?
Pretty simple. Look, I don't think his dad weighing the plates has anything to do with it, right? That's just Eddie being Eddie. That's just Eddie poking at Hafthor. It's anybody else could have picked up those weights. They were weighed. There was a cameraman up close on a regular gym scale. It was weighed plate by plate, not the whole bar, and then we put it up. Every single plate.
There were rogue weights too, right? So they weren't just custom-made weights.
Yeah. There were proper plates, the proper bar. Everything was weighed. We had, and we got Magnus, who's probably the most legit referee out there. It just happens fortuitously that he also lives in Iceland, and he could make it over to the gym. And we're like, we'll show the audience each and every bit of how the sausage is made so that there's no doubt left. Yeah. Look, nobody ever doubted, including Eddie. Nobody doubted that weight was correct. Did he lift 501? Yes, he fucking did. Right? But the argument, which then hundreds of YouTubers decided to pick up on, like there was a month and a half where YouTubers made so much money just off of the drama and the saga and the controversy that it caused. That is this a world record that doesn't count because it's in a competition or not? But I don't think it makes a difference. A competition, all it does is give you the adrenaline. But I'm sorry to say this, if you're lifting half a ton off the floor, the crowd adrenaline is really not going to be the problem, right? You're amped up as it is to the max, and it doesn't matter. The guy lifted more weight. So be it in a different setting. I just don't think anything should be taken away from him. And the only people who are going to complain about that, obviously, is the old record holder. Maybe promoters will have a problem with that because it wasn't at their event or they weren't the ones who did it. But it had like a 1 point between ESPN, Rogue's channel, CoreSports, because it was free to watch, live at that given time, 1 hour, it was over 1.3 million aggregate live viewers. And within the first 24 hours, it did like 10 million views.
And that's another thing. Was it live streamed? I mean, because that was another point that Eddie had brought up.
I gave Eddie so much shit for it. I'm like, dude, we did 18 episodes of the feats of strength, different athletes doing different things. And yes, after the huge, because in live events, especially if we're directing from Dubai, things are not in your control 100%. And we had a bit of a catastrophe in the bench press world record with the Júlíus Maddox. There was a misload. The stream was terrible. They kept cussing on ESPN. So we said, no more live. We'll just do a live with a time delay. But Thor's deadlift was 100% live. Yeah. And Eddie knows this. That was just part of the right, I'm going to poke at him and piss him off. So pinch of salt. Yeah. Not everything he said was 100% true. Okay. He truly believes that the way to, because look, in Eddie's head, here's the thing. In Eddie's head, what the way he thinks that Hafthor acted in 2017, and it took away his win or sort of diminished his win. By him saying your deadlift doesn't count, that's a way of getting back at him, isn't it? It's exactly the same thing. So God knows what goes on in their heads. I mean, I know to a certain degree, but I kind of stop and I'm like, you know what? I don't understand it anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at it from both of their perspective, they both have legit reasons for everything they say.
That's true.
I just hate being stuck in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, that's how you lose a bicep. But being stuck in the middle.
That is not the worst thing that has happened to me. That's just physical and visible. The psychological damage. No, I'm just kidding.
So when it comes to, I mean, these two, or like you said, you like to put on a show, two extravagant fighters or two big things. So now, would you say that there's any more strongmen or any other opponents or two, matches that you would like to put together? Anything in your horizon?
Yes. So I finally, after they both took a week, they both had time to think. I recently had a conversation with them both. Look, it's clear that they both want to fight again, not each other and otherwise. Like Eddie specifically, he says that he's never felt that much thrill in anything in his life. Just walking to that ring, that people. I mean, he's felt it in strongman.
Yeah,
but that's different. Combat is a completely different game, right? A true definition of adrenaline dump. So I think he's got the bug.
No, for sure.
He's got the bug. He wants to get in the ring again.
Also prove himself, right?
Look, the boys, both of them did me at least proud.
Yeah.
Right. And I think they did the whole world proud. Most people thought the fight was going to be shit. A pro boxer who's a hater, who doesn't want to give him a nice little applause. Haters are going to hate.
Yeah.
But let's admit it. Nobody expected that fight to go that long.
Yeah.
Nobody expected it to be judged on points. Right? Oh, they're going to gas out in 2 rounds. Dude, it was an exciting fight.
No, you're right. I mean, that's what everybody thought, right? Everybody thought, hey, you're putting. I mean, you've seen a heavyweight fights. There's a lot of hugging. There's a lot of gasping for
clinching.
air. I mean, I've seen fights where people put their hands on their, waist and start breathing during a fight, right? Because it gets hard, and you could see that both these men wanted to win. They wanted to knock each other out. And there was no point in the fight where anybody stopped and was like, okay, I'm done here, right? Eddie had his eyes were covered in blood. Like they were open, they're cut open. And he still was, even towards the end, he was still swinging for the fence to try to knock him out. But I mean, Hafthor played his, I spoke to his coach earlier, and Belly, and, that's kind of what he said, that his game plan was straight, boxing fundamentals, straight 1-2, right down the middle, and he did exactly that.
If you go back and rewatch the fight, and if anybody is truly either an Eddie or a Hafthor fan, the big takeaway from that fight is it showed a lot about both guys' character. Okay, it is always admirable to see. Not a lot of people, because they both took hard punches, and they both got floored. But there was no way anybody was going to stay down. If we would have said this is 10 rounds, it wasn't going to get any better, but they would have kept going. If you said 12, those guys, I'm telling you, would have been gasping for breath, puking blood, and not one of them was going to lay down. That's something inspiring. Yeah?
No, for sure. We were live there. We heard the shots. Like when the shots were, when they hit, they were like boom, boom. Like they were hard shots. And you could hear it. And I spoke to some other people during the stream. They had said we could hear it on the streams, like those are hard shots. And we watch boxing, and those are hard shots. Yeah. So, nothing. I don't think either fight, like nothing was held back.
No.
Each fighter gave it their all, and they're all looking to. Both of the fighters were looking to knock each other out. Right. And
absolutely.
Most respect to both of them. 100%.
Absolutely. I was in the production truck, and of course there was problems with the stream. It's like everything's on fire until the moment everything's okay. Right. And then suddenly that bell rings, and I'm watching it on the monitor, I never watch any of our shows, by the way. I never watch any of our fights. I never watch any of it. But nope, that's it. But I was watching, and then they were like eyeing each other up until that moment the bell rang and they charged at each other. I was afraid of two things mainly. I didn't want anybody to get injured, and because of the emotion involved in it, I'm like, is this even going to be boxing, or is it going to be a dirty street scrap? Right? But the moment the bell rang, my phone stopped ringing. Nobody gave a shit. Like, I heard no complaints, which means that everybody was just stuck at the edge of their seat. And I'm like, oh my God, it's actually really exciting, because the first minute of that round, I'm like, whoa, they're really going for it, and they're not shit. Eddie admits that the problem is Eddie went in, he did not have his head composed. He wanted to knock Thor out. He went in to knock him out. He did not go in to box. Everything he learned about boxing was out the window. Thor kept his composure. He may have in the beginning took a couple of swings, but he's like, hold on. I'm going to use my head here. Just let him throw. And that's why Eddie never did any combos. He did nothing. He just waited, lined it up, and was always going for that big swing, because he had one mission. I want to knock him out. If Eddie had boxed a little bit, maybe the outcome would have been slightly different, but it's the one punch ending. That's what Eddie was after. And he admits that now. And that's emotion taken over. That's the red mist. That's where all your training goes out the window. It just goes
red, and you're fighting on emotion. And he's admitted it. And I mean, the humble pie video, right? I mean, that was, it takes a big man to do that, right? And, to take it as it is and move on with positivity, right? You had touched on, the SEGI stream going down, right? What happened there? Like, there's a lot of comments that people were saying, well, you guys had 2 years and you still messed it up. Like, that was the number one comment in a lot of videos. And every second person I speak to you, Don, is saying, yeah, the fight was great, but it's a shame that the stream went down. And one person actually commented and said that, hey, we watched more of your commercials than we watched the actual fight stream.
Okay, so just going back to what you just said, right? This is your average hater comment. Now, SEGI owned the rights to the live stream exclusively, okay? So all we could do, nobody can stop a stream being ripped, but you can have copyright people standing by. When you submit a copyright claim, YouTube doesn't take it down immediately. It takes about half hour to 45 minutes, right? So the inconvenience that people had when the stream wasn't working to go and open a new browser and watch it on YouTube, oh my God, why all the hatred towards SEGI? Okay, they had an insane amount of traffic, they thought on their feet, and they upgraded servers as we went along, and they got it right before the fight, okay? Now, in that so your average comment is, it's so much hate, Faisal. Don't ever fucking do a stream again. Your company's shit. I had to go and watch it on YouTube. Great fight, though. I'm like, oh my God. You didn't get it on the first platform. You went and watched it for free on the second platform. Okay, it's not the end of the world. Why are you hating so much? It's not like you were restricted that you must only watch it. You just said in your own comment, I had to go and watch it on YouTube. Come on, guys. I mean, but people are going to bitch and moan. It was their first live event.
No, I get it. I get where you're coming from. But why do they have to go to YouTube, right? Like, why did the SEGI stream go down? Like, I get it, right? It's their first stream, but
unexpected traffic. None of us could have. Well, it means on the day the website did in those few hours, grand total of 31 million impressions. Now, what impressions? It counts refresh, it counts trying to log in, log out. It's not representative of unique, but I'm very sure. Look, the maximum concurrency we had on that day, I think it was in round 5 or round 6, was 1.4 million people. That's 1.4 million people watching it at the same time. Okay? That is a huge number by any means. Did we lose viewers to YouTube and Twitch? Yes. Not necessarily all of them tried to get on SEGI. So they had the server. About 2 hours before the fight, it crashed. So they very quickly switched to an Amazon server, stress tested it up to 10 million impressions. I'm like, nah, we'll be fine. 10 million is going to be fine. Nope. That crashed again at midnight, half hour before the stream started. And that's why they had to go back and change that and go up. And we had to call the guys in the back saying, you're walking out 10 minutes later. So the whole fight was delayed about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. So that's why it was delayed. Yeah. So, I mean, the thing is that they did try. It wasn't like, hey, they just pressed the power button.
Oh, no.
Things crashed and they were like, oh shit, now what? So like there was some preemptive, like,
I was actually impressed.
Attempt to fix it.
Oh, 100%. Because we had an open line talking to their team, their tech team, their live ops team. And I'm like, guys, what the fuck is going on? They're like, we're working on it. We just did not expect this. And because 10 million is a big number, right? It's a big
it's
number.
It's like a small country.
Yeah. I mean, it's like more than any Scandinavian country, right? It's like 2 Scandinavian countries together. But you forget that it's 2 years in the making, and when you put it out for free, people who don't want to watch it will watch it. And no matter what you do, people are not going to get on the show early. They're all going to show up at the same time, 5 minutes before the fight starts. We have it with our pay-per-view events all the time. Yeah. Everybody buys 5 minutes before the thing starts.
Is that notion true then? Like, you get what you pay for, right? with this kind of.
Well, you see, not really, because I wouldn't think so. I mean, like, look, everybody can hate on SEGI as much as they want. It's still, even if you have 50,000 angry people, the people who had a good time and who had the perfect stream, they're not going to go online and have a comment rampage. It's only the people who had a bad time that do it, right?
Yeah, no, it's always true in any business, yeah.
So to take it with a pinch of salt, I was actually quite impressed at how quickly they were able to think on their feet, and they did the best they could under the circumstances. What annoys me is, okay, it's not like there was not any other possibility to watch it. Yes, we didn't advertise another possibility to watch it, but people very quickly found the way, and everybody watched the fight. And what our copyright guys gave us the numbers just 2 days ago. Aggregate views, the fight, what was taken down off of Twitch, what was taken down off of YouTube, SEGI itself, their aggregate views, I think within the first 48 hours, you're looking at about 35 million views. And that's not including the pre-fight. Coogan alone did 10 million views just in pre-fight content, right?
Yeah, no, shout out to Coogan, because I saw one of the comments in his on that YouTube video said, this is the best showdown ever, right?
It was exciting. People be like, oh, they were acting like spoiled children. Yeah, I know, but you still sat there and watched it because it's entertainment at the end of the day.
It's entertainment, yeah.
Yeah? It's like that pre-fight week, it was quick. It was a couple of viral videos had to actually be stopped. We've gotten 50 million views, maybe.
Yeah, you probably saw that on the beer struggle.
Yeah. So look, all in all, lessons learned. At least nobody was paying. Like, I mean, we don't have a problem with refunds or having to pay people money back or anything like that. And yeah, lessons learned.
Yeah, I mean, you guys had to do it for the first one, anyways, right? When Eddie tore his bicep.
I don't even know what would have happened at that fight.
If you could do this again, what would you do differently?
Most importantly, I think just looking at the way people consume content in this day and age, especially post-COVID, you can't leave too long of a period. I would have probably had them announce it way later. Mm-hmm. Not longer than 3, maybe 6 months out from the fight, right? 2 years, it was almost getting to the point of people losing interest. And if we didn't put it out for free, there was a huge risk that not the same amount of people would have paid for it.
Yeah.
I've said this before. If we announced the fight after the deadlift, May 2nd, if we'd have gotten this fight done in July, August, right, where it was still lockdown, man, we would have made some proper money, right? Because there was no content, there was nothing going on. Right off of the deadlift hype, take advantage of the situation. I am sure, purely out of boredom and lockdown delirium, I'm sure 1 million plus people would have paid $10 to watch it.
Yeah.
Not because they were interested in the fight, but mainly morbid curiosity, and there's nothing else out there.
Right.
There was Tiger King. There was the dancing African coffin meme on YouTube, and maybe like one more shitty TV program that was like being recycled. So, but they were not in a state to box at that time. It was a health hazard. You remember Hafthor after the deadlift? Did you see him?
No, not really.
No, but I mean, did you see him after the deadlift? Like, he weighed 207 kilos.
Yeah, that's true. No, and you know, that's another thing. I think that's sort of a blessing in disguise that it kind of took a couple of years, especially for the viewers, maybe not for you.
Oh, for the viewers. For the viewers, for sure.
It gave Eddie and Hafthor more time to prepare, to train.
Yeah.
And you know, like, after 1 year of training, it's really not enough when it comes to boxing. And even 2 years, like a lot of boxers that you see on pro boxing, they spend their whole lives training, right? Like 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
Doing it after 2 years, I think is a much more improvement than it would have been after 1 year. And I think what you're fearing, where you said, you know, I was scared that they'd be like hugging each other and gasping for air and not really, that could have been a possibility after 1 year, because, you know, their cardio wasn't there. Yeah. They still weighed a lot more. Correct. They didn't have enough, they didn't know how to throw punches. So in a way, I think it's blessing in disguise. You know, a lot of times they say things happen for a reason, and this could possibly be it, right? Because at the end of the day, you threw an amazing event, right? Like, everybody there, like you said, was on their edge of the seat, including me, right? You know, we were literally holding on to the thing, and anytime someone would get, you know, knocked or something had happened, we'd be like, oh shit, whoa, we were there. And that's why you weren't getting phone calls. And I think if this happened a year ago, your phone may have been going off like, what the fuck is it? Like, what are you throwing on? Yeah,
what is the shit? What is the shit?
Exactly. So
what is the shit?
You know, I think it's, you know, blessing in disguise anyways.
You're absolutely right. And honestly, there couldn't have been a better outcome, considering, let's face it, it's been a long and tough 2 years, at least from a promoter's perspective. How many things, how many red flags did come up? Like, don't do this. It's a bad idea. Okay, there's a bicep injury. There's a COVID. Don't go to Florida. Vegas won't sanction it. The Arnold's Columbus won't sanction it. I'm like, oh my God, it's just obstacle after obstacle. And as you said, blessing in disguise, but also for the viewers, they ended up getting a good fight for free. They ended up getting some hype. They ended up being emotionally invested in something and saw it come to a finale of sorts. And our sponsors came on board for potentially a pay-per-view event and maybe hopefully a viral moment or two. None of our sponsors expected this many eyeballs. So I guess it worked out great for everybody. And from our perspective, we got it done. I'm actually very rarely proud of anything we do, right? I always try to like, no, we could do better, But I think we pulled off something special.
You being satisfied on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you're at?
About 5.
Really?
No, my usual level is 2. so it's an upgrade. Maybe I could be convinced to a 6. If the stream was perfect, maybe it would have been a 7, but not more than that. Not more than that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I always have that 3-point buffer of improvement. Every time I went in there, the atmosphere was electric. Almost 4,200 people. Yeah. For Dubai, that's a huge number. And mind you, we were selling one fight, no undercard, no nothing. We were selling one fight at 1 a.m., right? It's a hard sell. Like, hey, drive all the way at 1 a.m. by the airport for 6 rounds.
What was the reason for that? Like, a lot of people said that, like, how come there wasn't a preliminary card or an undercard or anything like that? Why was it just main event?
There wasn't enough time. You may have noticed
time. You guys had 2 years though. How was it not enough time?
Not time in that sense. Time in the sense that when we decided, you know what, I'm just done with. We need to get this done. We need to get this done. Dragging it any longer than this, no. Okay, and we had an opportunity to sort of utilize a venue that another boxing show was going on, right? And I thought to myself, I'm like, look, we've been putting on exhibition fights and undercards all year. We can do that anytime. This is the Eddie and Hafthor fight. It needs to be a standalone. If and when there's a rematch, we can look at a proper full night, blah, blah, blah. We just wanted to get it done because they both have obligations in April. I didn't want to drag it any longer. And I'm telling you, people were losing interest. So from the decision that was made, immediately we had to announce, and we did not have much time. 6 weeks. And I said, the undercard isn't going to sell any more tickets, right? The Eddie and Thor fans, the people who want to watch this specific heaviest boxing match in history, they're going to come for it no matter what. So stand alone. Let's make it all about this fight. Let's make it focused all on this. I mean, you've been to the exhibition fights we've had in Dubai. We put on like 20 undercard fights in the last year.
When I was there last time, they were really good.
And they were all good.
That's why I had brought that up with you. I'm like, how come there wasn't one? But it makes sense. It's fair.
19th of March 2020 is when the contract was signed. 2 years. And 2 long years. 2 years of COVID and pandemic and lockdowns and vaccines and like it's and obstacles and bicep tears and more bicep tears and calling off the fight. And Hafthor had a baby in the meantime. He has a son now.
Yeah, Stormer is super cute.
Were you happy with it as a supporter and sponsor? Were you happy with how it culminated? I know you got quite irritated during the 2 years.
Yeah,
and I think until the night before, I remember the phone call. You're like, "So what are the chances of this not happening again?"
Yeah,
I'm like, their medicals have come back fine.
It was all over YouTube, and people were sending it to me and asking me questions. I think one of our guys even messaged me, and he's like, "Is this fight going to happen?" I saw something on YouTube, and I think it was Nick Strength or somebody.
It's Nick Strength and Power.
Yeah,
it's Nick Strength and Power. He's the master of proper. I love him. What I love about him is he's a great orator.
Yeah.
You can listen to him talk. Okay. He's not he's not one of those guys. He speaks well and he kind of knows how to work a crowd. He'll always leave like room for speculations and let people run with it. And let me know what you think in the comment section. And he just plants that seed and lets people talk shit. Right.
And it was like that same time where he said, you know how your bicep got torn?
Yeah.
It was a lady or a female that got injured in that, unfortunately. And we were all, when we watched that, we're like, what? And I think I sent that to you too. I'm like, Don.
You did. I had already watched it. And he was speculating that, okay, I don't know, the whole promotion is shit and the promotion is weird. I don't know what the hell is happening. It looks like this fight might still not go ahead because we heard that somebody got injured and maybe Eddie's in trouble and that's why the fight's not happening. So there was so much speculation. And you, amongst many people, you should come out and make a statement. I'm like, no. Why would I make a statement? Why ruin the marketing? Let people fucking keep talking and wondering, I wonder what happened. Because that's what marketing is. You let people with that thought linger. If you give people a straight answer, the buzz dies, right? I'm like, I don't want to tell anybody I'm the one who got injured. Let them think maybe
true marketer right here.
Maybe will not happen.
That's why I call him the man, the myth, the legend right here. Don Idrees.
Nothing kills a buzz more than people getting the answer they want.
Yeah.
Or clarity. As long as there's no clarity, speculation is beautiful. And I love Nick Strength and Power for this.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Nick.
When that whole fiasco happened, where we had to take down the video because we didn't have the filming permits. Even that, I think our page got in touch with Nick and said, look, do you mind? We could get into some serious legal trouble. And he immediately obliged. Most people immediately obliged. And we're like, look, we're sorry. It pissed me off and it pissed you off. Like, finally, we get a viral video and we have to take it down. Right? I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, the first marketing moment and we have to take it down for legal reasons. What the fuck? It was sad, but Eddie and Thor made up for it in the next couple of days. We're sweet.
No, but I don't think I thought that was probably the best one. Like, maybe the videos are still floating around, but like that, to me, like personally, that was my favorite moment during, aside from the press conference was funny, but this was like real. Like in the, let me put it in perspective. The press conference, you didn't tear a bicep. Okay. In this showdown,
I think tearing a bicep is funny. I think tearing a bicep is funny
because it happened to you. Well, I mean,
No,
luckily it wasn't
was
anybody else, right? It was you, the founder, the CEO of CoreSports. So, I mean, you're not going to sue anybody, right?
The only person who needs suing is I need to sue myself for this whole fucking.
Yeah, you would have sued yourself. You would have sued yourself for tearing your own bicep.
Yep, that's me. That's me. No, it was. It's funny now. 2 weeks later, when you and I are sitting there, ha ha ha, laughing about it. But it was a long night, man. Just begging everybody to take the video down.
I know.
So, for those who don't know, in Dubai, it's a big thing. You cannot just film content without a filming permit, right? That's one reason. And secondly, loud profanity and that is frowned upon. And Eddie, I know he was amping it up and doing all that, but I mean, we had a chat, and because we were getting DMs from everywhere, they're like, hey man, just control your boys, this is getting a little bit out of hand, the spitting and the whatnot and this and that. So in general, it got really ugly really quickly. I think it was within a minute. I'm like, oh fuck, oh shit, what the hell am I doing in between? I'm gonna get behind Eddie. Come on, Eddie, stop it! Boom, bicep goes.
Oh man.
Oh boy! And then I get that phone call. I'm like, okay, right. Video must come down. It was a long night, man. Stopping a viral video in this day and age is not easy.
No, and I bet you it's still out there somewhere. Like, I mean, once once it hits the internet, it's there forever now, right? And that's kind of reason even before I put my video up right away, because there was a moment that you could have stopped it, or after a time you thought about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, we'll see. Don't lose this chance. Put the beard struggle on it right in the middle, so nobody can crop it out, and post it. And it was posted within 5 minutes. Like, it was being posted, and I could see Eddie Hall walking back to his car to go to leave. Right. So I mean, that was my favorite moment of the whole pre-hype before the fight. I mean, the fight was my favorite moment, but pre-hype, that was mine. No doubt. I mean, maybe you guys can find the video somewhere. Maybe you can't. Who knows?
No, it is. It's out there, but I think we stopped 80% of it. At least we stopped it from.
It's always going to exist on my phone or in one of our Google Drives.
Every channel that reposted it, because you're the only one who put it up. I stopped everybody else, and by the time you put it up, so I think. From a sponsor perspective, I think you got the most value. There's not a single channel on YouTube that posted a video that didn't have fucking beard struggle sprawled across it, animated logo to boot, right? Just in case you missed it, it's the beard struggle. And I'm the marketeer. Kudos to you.
Part of it, it's unfortunate. A lot of people will not ever see it, or will catch clips of it, and probably not the best quality version of it now, because it's been recycled so many times, because that's what happens.
Even if the video was taken down, what kept going, and we couldn't do anything about it, was a thumbnail of that video with Eddie going like that, and that's what was used as clickbait throughout the week. Even for the press conference, people use that as a thumbnail. Tabloids. I'm like, oh, God.
There were some speculations in the last week. I mean, you love speculations about there being a possible MMA match between Eddie and Hafthor. Possibly. What would you ever promote an MMA match? Or
no? Look, I love MMA. I love MMA a lot, but MMA is not, in my humble opinion, not a good idea for them too. Mm-hmm. It's just injury galore. It's injury galore, and MMA is not a joke. They'd have to take another 2 years off to relearn a whole new sport. So I wouldn't recommend it to either of them. Obviously, I'm going to back the boys, whatever they want to do. Well, I don't think either of them want to do MMA. They've fallen in love with boxing, and I don't think neither of them like injury. Hafthor, look, he's just a freak athlete. Yeah, he's just a genetic specimen, right? He'll get into any sport and he'll be good at it. But he was going to do it properly. So you're looking at another 2 years. By then he'll be 35, 36. It's just not. He's just gotten to a point of where boxing is like almost a passion. And he's loving it. He's loving the good effects it's had on his health.
No, of course.
Both of them actually. So MMA. No, MMA, no. I wouldn't. I don't think that's happening.
The next one, another speculation you could see, when Hafthor said, who would you want to see me fight? You know, a lot of people said Logan Paul, or some people said Martin Ford. Like, which one of those two do you think are most probable to happen?
More realistic?
Yeah.
Look, they're both equally probable. It's just which one is a better fight, you think?
Yeah. What do you think is a better fight?
From a fight perspective, I don't think that there's a fight with Logan Paul. That's not a fight. I don't think so.
Why is that?
It takes a lot of balls to go up against Mayweather, exhibition or not, right? So Logan's proven himself to be like, okay, I'm not afraid of shit, you know? But Hafthor's not going to do an exhibition, okay? Hafthor actually wants a proper fight. He wants a challenge. He wants somebody at his level or close to his level or better. His natural instinct would be, I want to do my best. I don't think that would bode well with Logan, or what's the other one who was also
Jake Paul.
No. The
KSI.
I'm pretty sure he said it as a joke, and that's become a thing now, a meme.
Yeah, I know. I saw it on Lad Bible as well. KSI said he said he'd be too fast for Hafthor or something like that, something crazy. And then I saw one of the comments: "There's weight classes for a reason."
The people have spoken. A lot of people want the Martin and Thor fight to happen
because they're around the same height. They're around the same weight, and they're pretty big people. Like in general, they're, like you said, genetically blessed, right? Individuals.
It would fit nice in the Titan belt theme. So the story about the Titan belt has got two emblems on each side. This time it was Thor's hammer representing Thor and a beast's head, right? Mm-hmm. In the next fight, the challenger would then come up with his own emblem, and then that would replace the beast's head. It's a rotating trophy, basically. So you'd fight for the belt, right?
Is it just that one belt that's rotating?
Yeah, so whoever wins, he gets to keep it with the other person's head as an emblem on it. You know what I mean? It's like a weird trophy head collector rotate. I don't know. I'm making up my own fantasy here. I'm sure it doesn't fit Lord of the Rings, Vikings, or any of that. It's just something I made up one day. It is what it is. It looks cool as shit, though.
Yeah.
It's 25 pounds heavy.
Well, you had to make it big because you're putting on big guys. A small belt would look funny.
It is a really cool looking belt. So I think we need to revisit the Mariusz Pudzianowski situation to see if he's up for fighting.
That would be a pretty epic fight, I think, because he's a trained fighter and he's been fighting and he's been the world's strongman so many times, right?
He's the highest, 5 times. He's won the world's strongest man most times, 5 times.
Yeah, and he's had a pretty, experienced MMA career.
I think 12 years he's been doing MMA, and he's 12 years. He's a very
that would be a tough one for anybody, Hafthor or Eddie Hall, looking to fight him, right?
Yeah. So it's just a question of doing some research and seeing what the market wants and seeing what fight makes sense, because Eddie's got to have a fight too.
Is your heart or your mind swayed any certain way right now, or are we just exploratory completely?
Completely exploratory. Sometimes one door closes, 2 doors open. You just never know. At the moment, from my perspective, I'm letting things be because it's too soon. Because right now, everybody's in that, when you were a kid, you'd watch a Van Damme movie and you come out of the cinema and you just want to kick people, right? You're in that phase where I want to see it, and you don't necessarily make the best decisions. I just want to see. Also, look, the most important thing about next fight or a rematch, people will never, but from our perspective, is always going to be financial, and the business element of it is going to be a very, very integral part. Yeah. Do people want to watch this? Are people going to pay for it? Are the boys going to get a payday? Are the fans going to enjoy it? We're not going to put on a shit show or put on a fight just for the sake of a fight, The
numbers have to make sense, right? Yeah.
Yeah, numbers have to make sense. Sponsors have to be happy. The audience has to have an appetite for it. Nobody wants a fight that nobody's going to watch, Yeah. And nobody's going to want to risk injury or a fight or getting knocked out. Nobody does this for love. You know,
No.
people wrestle alligators, but never once has anyone done it without an audience.
No, of course. I mean, you're putting your life on the line, right? As a fighter, you're putting your life on your line.
Absolutely, every time.
You know, each one of them, even Eddie has said, this is a business, right?
It is a business.
So at the end of it, it is a business, and that's what a lot of people have to realize, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a fun business and exciting. It's thrilling. It's probably one of the most, I would say, exciting businesses out there, right?
Exhilarating,
that's the word.
like everything falling apart 5 minutes before everything becomes correct is like the biggest adrenaline dump.
Right.
When you get that knot in your stomach when, like, oh my god, like online people are attacking you, tickets, people are jammed at the door, there's not enough seats. I don't know what's happening. Security's freaking out, VIPs are complaining the security are being assholes, and you're like, oh god, I need a minute, when is this going to be over? And then it's also it's an addictive, masochistic feeling.
Are you at the point where you're sort of calm now and you're ready to go on to the next thing? Because I know CoreSports boxing is not everything it just does, right? It's just a little spot of it, right? What else is CoreSports involved in? What's the future of CoreSports looking like in terms of your vision and how you see it?
So we do World's Ultimate Strongman. We're involved in a couple of other smaller strongman promotions. We're with Larry in King of the Table, arm wrestling. I love it, man. The Eddie and Hafthor fight was March 19th. March 26th, we did Legacy Boxing Series. It was a nice pro boxing night. And then now it's the next Saturday after. King of the Table is 3 days from now.
We just signed him today to our Skin Struggle brand.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to be
Skin Struggle.
Skin Struggle. The Skin Struggle just launched today, and we have just signed him for that as one of our sponsors. We sent him our products. He really loved them. He said, he could see himself promoting it. He's like, I only promote products that I believe in and I trust, because just like our brand, it's his brand as well, and we see these partnerships as mutual for each other, right?
Yeah.
So
congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. So we have King of the Tables, April 2nd, you said?
King of the Table 3. It's our third one. It's April 2nd.
Nice.
Arm wrestling is we do.
Is that your bread and butter?
It's part of our bread and butter, but it's actually one of our most profitable properties, because the arm wrestling community, I love the arm wrestling community. They love their sport so much that they will make memes, they'll make highlight reels, they'll cut trailers. Every fan is a marketeer of their own, and it's a small group of them, but they're hardcore. Like, they love the sport.
How big would you say arm wrestling really is on a global level?
And what I'm told from other promoters, we break all records of pay-per-view. We do like between 20 and 30,000 pay-per-view per event purchases. Then we put it out for free, and within a week is 10 million views aggregate on various YouTube channels. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's got a lot of characters, a lot of animated characters, a lot of marketable characters. You've got the ambassadors like Devin, you've got the Michael Todds, you've got the John Brzenks, who are legends, and then you've got the Ryan Bowens, the Rob Vigents, and then you've got the whole Eastern European, like this side, the East of arm wrestling. And man, there's some serious athletes. Like, you have like the giants like Alex Cordecha and Levon. We've got some monsters of men, and everybody they're all very humble. They're all because when your sport is an underground sport for a long time, and you see an opportunity to bring it to mainstream, everybody wants to support.
You said World Strongman as well.
World's Ultimate Strongman. So that was our flagship. We started that in 2018. Myself, Mark.
How does that compare to like the World's Strongman, which is kind of
World's Strongest Man?
Strongest Man, sorry, yeah.
World's Strongest Man has been around since 1977. Basically, anybody who's a strongman today have grown up with it, right? I don't think there's any comparison per se, because their format is different. They don't do a live show. They do it over a couple of days. They've got heats, qualifiers, and a finale. It's got the name and the prestige because it's been around for so long. We came in kind of disrupted and pissed off a lot of people. But first of all, we raised the prize money.
What is the prize money for you guys?
$150,000.
Wow.
When we started it, I don't think we're no longer the biggest prize, but I think Rogue topped us for sure. At that time in 2018, we were the highest. Second highest was the Arnold's Rogue Invitational. They just did one in October. It was great.
Rogue does a strongman as well, strongman competition as well.
They do their own CrossFit event. They do their own strongman event.
Oh.
And they're just a very, very athlete supportive and sports supportive company. They're great to work with too. Brilliant to work with, actually. So World's Ultimate Strongman, initially what we started, it's in the Middle East, not a big strongman fan base. So what we started initially was to have it in sort of a festival type format with a bunch of other stuff going on to attract people. The first one we did was just insane. And we had oh man, just show you videos of that. We had Mad Max themed trucks for truck pull. We had Shaolin Kung Fu showmen we flew in from China. We had a concert going on. We had an MMA ring. We had hawks and birds of prey floating around. We had basketball kids stuff. We had 15, 16 different activities. It was like a sports festival, like a little one. And it was great. The second year we did the same. And then the third year COVID hit. So we had to shrink it down to just strongman only. Mm-hmm. And we're the first to do strongman live on TV. So we had to compress. Still, I think we're the only ones that do it live on ESPN on a major TV network. We had to compress the show. So
do you do it live for the whole, because it's a long competition, right? You got to be all day. So you're just streaming the whole thing live all day long.
Stream the whole thing, yeah. 3 to 4 hours.
Wow.
And we figured out a way with ESPN to air it live on their digital channel. And then with a time delay, they put it on the big ESPN, ESPN2.
Yeah.
And then last year we brought in World's Ultimate Strong Woman, which we launched.
Wow.
Same format, big prize money. First one was invitational, the top 10 or the 10 invited. And then now this year we're looking at October to do the same again.
Wow.
Probably going to end up using the same venue.
The tennis. Oh, wow. Well, it looks like you have a lot on the go still, man. And it's really great to see a man with vision who, like I say, pulls a rabbit out of his hat. I'm
running out of rabbits, man. Let me tell you that.
I think this is another thing about entrepreneurs is that, we have to continuously be pulling rabbits and, working hard. And I think one thing that nobody can take away from you, Don, is you're one of the hardest workers I've known. I mean, what time is it there in Dubai right now?
Oh, it's early. It's 10 p.m.
It's 10 p.m. And, he took this podcast invite from me and said, hey, no problem, right? The man that's always working, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there any last words you'd like to say?
Yes. I know we have a fun relationship and everything, but I don't actually think I've ever, and I'm going to embarrass you here, I've ever actually taken the opportunity to thank you for all that you've done for us in the last couple of years. Yes, I've been a pain in the ass to you sometimes, and yes, you've been a pain in the ass to me sometimes, but I don't think I've ever actually honestly told you how much myself and our whole team appreciates your company, your support, and you as a person, what you've done for us through thick and thin.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate your kind words.
Thank you. Seriously, yeah. There's a lot of things we couldn't have done without you. Let's just leave it at that. So thank you.
No, thank you, bro, for, taking this chance and putting this on. And, likewise, we have mutual appreciation towards each other, man. I think so. Oh, sorry. One last question I actually had is Eddie versus Hafthor 2. When do we see that happening? Is that in the horizon coming up or next 6 months? Because there is something like that. You said there is in the contract. I'm not sure if I'm able to say this right now or not.
No, we could say it. It's out in the open. First of all, Eddie versus Hafthor 2. That's not going to be the name of the promotion. That's a shit name, right? We got to think of something better, right? No. Redemption. They're not obliged to have a rematch. There are several rematch clauses in their contracts. That's not a problem. They both want a rematch at some point. I'm not 100% sure that it should be immediately right after this. If and when there is a rematch, that the build-up and the story and the reason behind it is no longer going to be bitterness and hatred, and I want to get you back for some shit that happened 5 years ago. It's going to be a straight up, I want to get my own back. Yeah. I'm going to go into this without hatred and emotion, and I want to show you that I'm a better boxer. That's the story, right? And Hafthor is defending the title or defending the belt. That's a whole other, because I'm just speaking purely from a marketing perspective. I think they both should have a couple of more fights with other people, become better as boxers with other people, and then have a rematch. Also, straight away a rematch, it just doesn't work. I don't think anybody wants to watch it immediately. I think people want to see them both fight. Yeah. Want to see what this new career could look like, because they've made the sport of strongman proud. Also, you don't see footwork like that from 300 kilos of man meat. It's not that easy. I'm hoping within the next 6 to 8 months, definitely not another 2 years. So fans, you don't have to wait another 2 years of blah, 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 and blah, blah. Hopefully before this time within the next year, hopefully. But you will see them fight other people.
So it's safe to say in the next year, we could probably see a rematch?
That's for sure. Yeah. They both want it, so who am I to get in the way?
Okay. That's good, man. That's no, definitely. And I think a lot of our viewers, a lot of fans of boxing, and now fans of boxing and strongman, and are excited. They're on their seat that they actually have these big, gigantic men that actually can box and can go the distance and can throw big hits, and it's not like a big brawl. And I think that's the most important.
Yeah.
Anybody would be lined up to seeing this. And I think I said this before, this is kind of like a proof of concept for you. And I think the concept has been proven after what transpired on the night of March 19. And all the best of luck to you, bro.
Thank you.
We as the Beer Struggle are going to be hopefully on this ride with you together.
Well, you've always the doors are always open, and you always have our love, preference, and our entire team working for you, Faisal.
Thank you. Appreciate that, man. And thank you again for taking this time. Really appreciate you. And we at the Beer Struggle love working with CoreSports and all the individuals, Ozzy, Zay,
anytime.
Ben, everybody, Zena. Shout out to these guys that are your team, the core of the CoreSports.
Thank you.
Yeah, the core team.
The core team.
Appreciate you, bro. Take care.
Thank you.
All
Have a good one, yeah?
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.